Hello and welcome to Mexico News Network's Breaking News. Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Elisa Carballo, and with excellent information for you coming right ahead. Remember, Mexico News Network is your #1 source for reliable information on business and investments in the Americas. Stock markets, bonds, and also corporate information all on Mexico. So browse through our website on www.mexiconewsnetwork.com, our very own digital content platform. Now let's begin with today's main headline stories. In these days, technology and innovation are basic for the traveling industry. People are very much keen on using gadgets and mobile devices to share every single one detail of their time away. This also applies to the booking, customer service, and other types of interaction that in the past used to be between people only. Now this comes to the first trend of minimization of human interaction on the traveling trains for 2016. People today prefer to have their interactions done for them or via some sort of device. It's also known that there are some sites that actually manage their customer service through only computers. The answers are pre-written and feed to their clients directly. Now the innovation comes to a sort of smarter customer service rather than personally. In regard to activities, another trend is about that one thing we all love when we are doing something new and exciting, or activities we love. Sharing them with friends and the entire world through photos and selfies. But by doing this, we spend more time behind a camera or a phone instead of doing the actual activity. The idea is to decrease selfies and book photographers on site to capture every single moment and let you actually enjoy them without the trouble of taking the phone or camera every single place and every second of the trip with you. Just as the service provided by Photo Studio Dorado at El Dorado Spa Resorts and Hotels, located, of course, in the beautiful Riviera Maya. Now the next trend is all about minimizing costs on airfare exclusively, accommodation and transportation fees too. This is about getting where you want to be at the least cost possible. The point is to enjoy the experience and to probably spend those extra bucks in precisely that, experiences only. Talking about experiences, how about taking you up on a water sports at one of the most beautiful beaches of the world, Punta Maroma, where you will find Maroma adventures where to engage in a great number of activities such as snorkeling, scuba diving, fishing, swimming with the dolphins, and even ride camels right on the beach. There you have it. These are only some of what travelers will be doing and following up on this 2016. Will you be joining along on these trends? Moving along to more information, American Airlines has just announced that 4 new flights to Cancun from the US are now available for their customers, therefore reaching a total of 166 flights a week into the gorgeous beaches of the Mexican Caribbean. With the addition of these new routes, American Airlines becomes the very first airline with 685 flights in total a week into Mexico. Currently, this U.S. airline has 12 direct flights to the beautiful Mexican Caribbean from several destinations, including flights that every single Saturday will depart from international airports in Raleigh-Durham, Pittsburgh, Nashville, and Kansas. The flights will be made through the A319 and B737 aircraft with capacity for 125 as well as 160 passengers respectively, fact that will help contain the constant flow of tourists that fly into the Cancun International Airport due to the spring break season. About the increase, the airline said that Cancun is the #1 destination in Mexico and one of the most important in Latin America. As a matter of fact, in the year 2015, the International Airport of Cancun exceeded 19 million passengers a year. The director of the Convention and Visitors Bureau of the destination, Jesus Almaguer Salazar, said that it's relevant because these flights actually increase significantly the number of visitors from the U.S., which is, of course, the main market into Cancun. Moving along to more news, Sergio de la Vega, director of Gulf in Mexico, confirmed last week that between the month of June and July, the American oil company will set 4 gas stations in Mexico, becoming the very first foreign enterprise to venture into the national petrol sales market. De La Vega said to local media that by the end of March they will begin to offer their very first franchise. So far, it's only known that 2 of the 4 stations will be located in Mexico City and the city of Monterrey, while the other have not been defined quite just yet. The director in Mexico of the American Oil Company added that a new type of franchise will be used to attract local petrol station owners. Also, the business model includes the provision of their associates with gas, vending machines, competitive and efficient schemes of work, and electronic payment facilities. The company expects that by the end of 2016, its presence in Mexico could actually reach 2,000 gas stations all across the nation. Gulf plans to supply its Mexican subsidiaries from Pemex refineries. However, it's still confirmed that at least 50% of its gasoline will be imported from California, Texas, and even from European markets. In more news, the head of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Mexico, Ms. Claudia Ruiz Massieu, traveled some days ago to India, where she met with her counterpart, Minister Sushma Swaraj. This was to follow up on the agreement of the meeting that took place back in September of 2015 between the 2 countries in the framework of the 70th General Assembly of the UN in New York. Some of the agreements needed are the establishment of a mechanism to carry out direct trades for precious metals and also boosting trade and investment ties between both nations. A bilateral high-level group on trade, investment, and economic cooperation between the 2 countries would also take steps to increase collaboration between companies in sectors such as renewable energy, pharmaceuticals, oil, automobiles, and auto parts, information technology, tourism, and entertainment. Both mandatories showed a great shared interest in deepening strategic partnership and relations between Mexico and India, from a high-level contact and better use of mechanisms for bilateral and multilateral dialogue. One of the conclusions after the entire meeting is the great need to promote these bonds to respond to coincidences, ambitions, and the potential of both countries. They also showed the approval of the continued bilateral dialogue and pledged to strengthen ties between the 2 nations. They actually also spoke of sharing interest on improving the cooperation on space technology, interest, and create projects on agriculture, fisheries, water resources, and climate change, among many more. Now moving along to Mexico's gross domestic product. The Mexican economy continues to expand at a moderate annual rate of growth of 2.4% on average, as the economic recovery lost steam during the first half of 2015 and well into the end of the same year, 2015. Moderate growth in Mexico has actually been attributed to weakness in industrial production in the U.S., a further drop in the volume of oil production, reducing annual gross domestic product growth by about 0.4 percentage points, and financial market volatility. A gradual recovery of economic activity is expected to very much continue, with economic growth strengthening from 2.3% in 2015 to 3.0% by the year 2017. The expansion of economic activity will rely exclusively on growth of private consumption and investment, with an increase in manufacturing exports following the significant real exchange rate adjustment and robust growth in the U.S., eventually providing additional support. Now, the public sector revenue showed a strong performance, mainly due to a sharp increase in income taxes, reflecting the deferred impact of the revenue-enhancing tax reform enacted at the end of the year 2013. Higher income and fuel excise taxes compensated lower public sector oil revenue due to declining oil production and sharply lower oil prices. Anticipating longer-lasting low oil prices, the government is actually reducing public sector expenditures over a 2-year period. This is from 2015 into the year 2016. Despite higher income and excise tax revenue, and in order to maintain fiscal consolidation plans, the government decided to respond to lower oil revenue by reducing public sector spending in 2015 and 2016 by 0.7% of the gross domestic product in each and every year. A strong commitment to sound public finances is at the core of the government's policy response to the challenges posed by an increasingly complicated external environment, despite the possible dampening impact on the pace of economic growth. Now, in regard to the currency exchange rate, the US dollar versus the Mexican peso increased by 0.93% up to 17.91 on Tuesday, March 15th, from 17.75 in the previous trading session. The US dollar versus the Mexican peso gained 16.12% during the last 12 months, going from 15.43 in March of 2015 up until today's current currency exchange rate. Sadly, this was all for today. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm your host, Elisa Carballo, and you were watching Breaking News by Mexico News Network. Remember, we're your #1 source for reliable, positive, and viable information all on Mexico. So why not browse through our website on www.mexiconewsnetwork.com and follow us on social networks too, where you will find a great deal of information. We'll see you next time.